Martian Manhunter on telepathic link. Superman. There's a kaiju attacking Metropolis. The Engineer and Lex Luthor are up to something. A Yeti is attacking your fortress. Ultraman has put out a bounty on you. And oh yeah, Batman's kind of depressed about his parents dying. You can only save one. Who are you going to choose? I can only save one. There. Don't you have a life, Clark?
Somebody save me.
What is up? How is the Legion of Comic Collectors doing today? Well, today I have something I haven't did in a little bit, and that's a collection video. And this is going to be Legion of Superheroes Volume 4. This is my favorite Legion, and it has a pretty crazy and complicated history. Be a little bit of spoilers if you've never read this and plan to. But I'm going to talk about it as we show books, because it's quite a few books here. So you have the two Secret Files, and this series has 6 annuals. This was like the last really long-running Legion book, and you could tell they really tried. And no, this series I've never rebag and boarded. And here we have issue 6, the last annual. So, this was written by Keith Giffen. At least starting out, who is famous from his Justice League International and all of that. But this series starts off. This is 5 years after the Magic Wars. And like there is no more Legion. So the characters you're seeing, of course, are the Legion. Where they happen to be now and what they're doing. Earth is controlled by the Dominators. It's like a dark future. And they're slowly trying to reband the Legion. And I think this story is pretty good. I had one Brave and the Bold featuring the Legion as a kid that got me interested. And I actually picked up some issues and it got rid of them of this volume. Early on when I got back into collecting, I really liked them, but it got rid of them. I really liked the later books. But jumping into this 5-year Legion was good reading. And I actually did a little bit of studying before this video, and it's like, I thought I could have done a good job describing this series. And then reading the actual synopsis of it, it's pretty wild. So, basically at some point in this future 5 years later Legion, they come across, it's like SC6 or something. They find younger versions of the Legion that are clones. And they look like the original Legion that ever appeared back in the 50s. So, following that, we actually come to find out that that is the real Legion. These clones are the real original Legion. I'm a bit fuzzy on the details on if this current Legion is clones. Or, you know, you have multiverse madness going on. And that switches the book up. We start following the, you know, original Legion. And then what I thought had happened, 0 Hour sort of resets things. Because with this 5 year after Legion, they couldn't use Superboy at all. Superboy, like, didn't exist ever. And that's, you know, that's the whole inspiration for the Legion. So there's sort of the end. We jump into like a weird middle period before 0 Hour, and it's like, then we're following the, I guess, original rebooted Legion, if you will, after this little middle period. But at the same time, the Legion has a really complicated history. Like, you get all the way up to Final Crisis, and there's a mini called the Legion of Five Worlds, because there are sort of 5 Legion continuities, if you will, 5 different Legions. And then I guess you could even count New 52 and the Bendis Legion. I don't know exactly how they would fit in, but from what I've seen of them, I assume there are 2 more, so there'd be like 7 different Legions. I freaked out for a second thinking this was ripped. It's supposed to be like that. And it is complicated, don't get me wrong. And I'm not at all the biggest expert. Nice little chromium cover. There. I'm not the biggest expert, but just reading these stories, you can enjoy this book nonetheless. Legion. I think the original Legion, or not the original Legion, the 5-year Legion, they go off and become like the Omega Men. And there's even books like, I'm sure you've seen them in your dollar bins, it's like L.E.G. That's a Legion spinoff, and then Rebels is a spinoff of that. So I was unaware. I don't want to say unaware. I was aware that it was connected to the Legion, but not necessarily the ups and downs of it until reading today. So I would have to say I'm super interested in those series now. So here we go. 0 Hour. I really, really enjoy the beginning of this series. Continuity aside, the 5-year Legion is just really different and an interesting read. I'd highly recommend it. And then when you get into this, I'm by no ways an expert on Legion older than the 80s. Read a little bit of 70s Legion. But this gives me the feel of probably what people would have liked so much about it. It's like a Legion starting. You get them doing recruitment drives, meeting new people. This is actually a key comic. There was only really 6 keys in this series, so I didn't write them down. 2 of them were interesting. Like, I think this is the first appearance of a couple new Legionnaires, and I forget their names off the top of my head. I get some Legion characters mixed up by name. And then one pretty cool key, which I should recognize if I'm paying attention and not talking, is the first appearance of XS is in this series, who is a descendant of the Flash, the regular Flashes. I believe Barry Allen. Like his granddaughter, I believe. In this series, it does a lot of retconning of deaths. Who was the first Legionnaire who died, how they died, stuff like that. They do crossover, as you can see, with the then current timeline. A lot of Legionnaires traveling in time, getting lost in time. But this series is really cool. Like, right through here, I just really, really enjoy these stories as well. So sort of like the first 38 issues, and then from 0 Hour forward, I really enjoy with the weird kind of middle ground because of continuity. But I would recommend this nonetheless. I know it's probably not peak storytelling, but just seeing the Legion grow, them holding recruitment drives, Stuff like that's a lot of fun. Here's Impulse. And can you even imagine a series nowadays going 90 issues straight? That's a cool cover. I think it was this guy. The first appearance of this guy was that issue. I keep wanting to call him Censor Boy, but that ain't his name. You start getting outside a core few people, and I have to remind myself characters' names and who they are. And I did myself no favors because I read this way out of order. And here we go, issue 100. Very cool. And I tried to, I read these books as I got them, tried to start reading it in order, and I was missing like 4 issues of Legionnaires. And there's another series, you had Legion of Superheroes, Legionnaires, and at some point, it's like the continuation. You read issue 101 of this, well, issue 102, you've missed something, you have to read, you know, issue 60 of Legionnaires, and then this, and then Legionnaires again, back and forth. Karate Kid. But man, especially this era, I love the covers. Love the art on the inside. Very consistent through this book and the other. So, definitely a fun series to collect and read. Here we have a Girl Shazam. And I do really like characters like Karate Kid, Timberwolf, Ultra Boy. I like Brainiac. Maybe not necessarily the hugest fan of the original 3, but still cool. This guy. And I may have missed the book I said I wouldn't miss. The first XS. I feel like it's actually a Legionnaire's book. And when I looked this up, it said her first cover appearance was in here. But we're coming down to the end. So the final issue, 125. And of course, issue 1 million. And I believe after this, it goes into Legion Lost. And then The Legion. I'm hoping to do a bunch of videos because I've got a bunch of complete series of Legions now. But let me know in the comments, did you read this series? What did you think of it? How did I do trying to describe the timelines? And if you haven't read this, does watching this video make you interested in a Legion? It definitely should. It is a good series and a lot of great characters. So with that, I will see you all next time.